So, Chris and I are just back from the Tacoma show, but I had a conversation, and Denise will not be here because apparently we have a little. Oh, wait, hold on. Who's this?
No, that's just the weird facts.
Oh, okay, never mind. Denise is not going to be here. She's got a little trade show crud going on. And I'm not sure if Michelle's going to be here or not. But anyway, so Chris and I are just back from the Tacoma show. It's a local show for me, so it's just a couple hours drive back home. But
It's on a whole other coast for me.
yeah, yeah. But I had a conversation earlier today with a friend of mine, and I'm going to put in quotation marks, a coach, but she works with women over the age of 40 who find themselves in a different situation than they were in prior to being 40. Okay. Sometimes it's a divorce, sometimes it's a change of career, sometimes they're sick of their job. But resources for women over the age of 40 to enter into a new life, basically. We were talking about the pet industry, specifically pet grooming, being a pretty women-centric business. Ageism, I have not really noticed any real ageism in our industry at all. What about you two? Have you noticed anything like that? Ageism?
Yes.
Yes, but not the way you think.
Okay, explain.
All right. Ageism in terms of an older person, it's more concern for their physicality. Are they going to be able to do the job? But I've noticed a fair amount of ageism with the groomers in their 20s, groomers in their early 20s, where they're educating themselves, they know things, and they still have problems getting taken seriously by their clients because they're young.
All right, that's kind of the reverse of what I was discussing.
I know, but it's still ageism.
Yes, it is. So, but older women coming into the pet industry are not met with disdain or "I'm not going to hire you because you're 40 years old," whereas that could be a very real thing in like corporate America and some other fields.
Angie, you said yes too. What have you noticed?
Oh no, I've worked at salons that wouldn't hire somebody over the age of 40.
Yeah, but is that the outlier is not really the norm in the industry?
Well, what I should say is that they wouldn't hire someone who wasn't already a groomer over the age of 40. Because I was over the age of 40 and they hired me. But I had experience. So there was someone that wanted to come in that did not have experience, although she had experience as a bather. And they hired the completely brand new with zero experience 20-year-old.
See, they also had a case of the stupids.
Well, they figured she could work longer, and it was to their detriment, because I ended up working with that woman at another salon, and she was fabulous. She was absolutely fabulous,
and probably a really hard worker.
She was a really hard worker. She was very conscientious. She was wonderful, and it was their loss. But it was my gain because I ended up working with her at another salon, and then she opened her own salon and is hugely successful. And she didn't start her career until she was like 42, 43, 40.
I met a lot of women who came up to my booth at the Tacoma show, which, by the way, it was the first time I had a booth, everybody. So I had a lot of women who came up to my booth, and they were all a lot of fairly new women who were in their 40s and their 50s. So I think it's an easier industry to dip your toes in. However, there's the flip side, and again, this went on with the conversation I had with her. It's not an easy industry to work. It is a very physical, and there's skills. And she countered with women who are in their 40s coming from other industries are well aware they need to pay for training.
Yeah.
So, but anywho, all right. I didn't start. I went back. I went into the pet industry. I was 38 years old. I started my own business when I was 40. So there's a lot to be said for this industry and welcoming women, especially women over 40 in second careers. Um, I know a couple of the women that I spoke to were started in the pet industry because they just got divorced. They
Yeah.
need to,
I didn't start my salon until I was in my 40s.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I was in my 40s or late 30s when I started my own business, but I didn't. That's because you hit the thing to make the table go down, numbnut. Sorry. Uh, Alec was like, um, but I didn't jump into that with both feet. Like I eased into starting my business on a part-time level. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So Mindy's here. Hey, Mindy. Hope you and Luke got home okay. Okay. So Tacoma.
Woo!
Tacoma. All right. So we're for me again. That's my local show. I'm an hour and a half away, and Chris, I hope you really appreciate getting that ride to the airport because you know how much the Ubers were.
I do. I absolutely do. Because they were pricey, number one, and number two, I have a public live apology to make because for me, regarding the whole getting a lounge pass, because I live so close to Newark Airport, it never seemed to make sense to get the lounge pass because I get to the airport right before my flight. I get through security. I never get there early enough to appreciate it on one end, and I don't always fly the same airline. So, you know, it's not terrible worth it. The security at SeaTac, the lines at SeaTac, holy mother of pearl. I was in line over an hour. I don't
Okay. So and
know if I've
I'm going to tell you why because that is also the cruise port there. So Sundays, people going home. Well, the smarter people cruising are staying an extra day in Seattle, leaving the next day. But that is why the lines at SeaTac can be stupid long, is because the port of Seattle is right there, and that is where the cruise ships come out of.
yeah. And
Now, do
I
you
got
have the
TSA
pre-check?
pre-check and clear. Boom, right to the front of the line.
Do you have pre-check, Chris?
no, that's on my to-do list.
Dude,
Because
you
it's never really an issue on this end. So I'm like, yeah, yeah.
Seriously. Okay. Do you know how much? Okay, clear. Let's even not even talk about TSA pre-check. Clear. Okay, clear. I go up, they take a picture of my eyeballs, and they go, "Oh yeah, that's Mary. We know her."
I
And
ain't paying for clear when TSA is practically free, like way cheaper and lasts for 5 years. Clear is
okay, but I have been in the TSA pre-check line for an hour. Okay, because
and
everybody and their mother has TSA pre-check,
and
but
do you
clear.
know that in some airports they're
Yeah,
looking at doing away with clear?
they've been. Don't worry about that. Okay, so they verify who I am, and they walk me up in front of the entire line. So all that line that's snaking around, everyone's giving me death glares as I right up to the front of the line, and the agent tells the TSA guy, "She's clear." and they waved me on through. Just
I
saying, Chris.
and I do have to say I got there so early, even with being in line over an hour. I went, oh, it's $60 for a day pass at the Alaskan Lounge, where they did have vegan chili, and I asked to see the food before I paid. I was like, let me see what food they have, and then looking down right downstairs and see what my food options and what I would pay for it. But yeah, I filled up on vegan chili and chips and guac and hummus and a nice bevy, and I took a nap in a lounge chair.
Okay, so
And they
you were
had
saying,
soft music
okay,
and
so
lovely bathrooms.
yes, some of them even have showers if you have a red eye and stuff like that. But anyway, so you were saying, Chris, about some sort of public apology?
I was saying, I'm sorry, Mary, for ever mocking your lounge pass. I totally get it. And if I was coming in and out of SeaTac on a regular basis,
Oh
I
no,
would
not just
also.
SeaTac. Not just
Okay.
SeaTac.
If I was coming in and out of an airport on a regular basis where the lines were like that, where I went, oh no, I must get to my flight 2.5 hours before it leaves, as opposed to I got to be there an hour and 15 minutes before it leaves so they take my bags.
All right,
Then I
so
would totally get a lounge pass.
Because I'll tell you, Mary turned me on to the whole lounge thing down in Atlanta. And I was like,
oh my, Chris, you had to see her. You had to see her. I'm like, you're coming into the lounge with me. You're going to pay for the day pass for it because she was coming in on my membership. It was only like $40, and she came in and she looked like she was like a kid who just was the very first time in a candy store. Her jaw was like on the ground.
it
Oh, and
was amazing.
and they had fresh pancakes in the Alaska Lounge too.
They had fruit. All right.
Yes.
I love fresh fruit, like so much. I ate enough pineapple,
Oh yeah.
strawberries, and blueberries to literally turn into one of the above. I don't know
I
which, but
okay. I credit how much I love especially fruit in a buffet, because I we've talked about our backgrounds and growing up. I credit growing up poor to filling up on fruit in a buffet, because fruit was expensive and a luxury when I was a child. Fruit was a luxury. Rice, beans, chicken, powdered milk that you mix with the regular milk so that it lasts longer were necessities.
yeah,
And
I
the
ate my body weight in fruit. Literally. And Mary was like, hungry. Huh. And I'm just like,
like, oh yeah.
yeah, I could. All right. So Jamie says fruit is her jam. She could live on fruit and noodles. Yes. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Oh yeah.
Like all the fruit. All the happiest I am is when I just have a literal bucket of fruit in front of me. And I did. And then on top of that, I had a cinnamon roll that I swear to God was as
Was the
big
size
as
of your
my
head.
face. It was beautiful. And the bathrooms were stunning.
Yeah.
It was like the nicest they had like, so you go in the stall and it's not just like toilet, yeah, whatever. No, it had like a little seat where you could, I don't know, relax or something, and in the stall. So it's like, oh, well, I'm just gonna sit and change, I guess. I don't know.
Change. Very yes.
And so it was like a, each stall was like a whole bathroom thing, and then they had showers and things, and I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I came home and I was like, membership too loud. Yeah, it took me all of 12 hours to get on that. I was like, this is, yes, yes, all of this.
Yeah. And Mary, what's holding me up on getting TSA pre-check is I had paperwork that I'm sure still exists somewhere, but it was above the water line, but it got totally misplaced in the last flood. So I now have to go into my hometown and get a copy of my marriage license
Yeah.
Yeah, initially
to
it could
get
be,
my.
yeah, initially it could be a little bit of a pain to get it because you have to go into a TSA office. They
Yeah.
usually have them at the airport, so if the airport is closed, that's not a problem.
Staples.
Oh, Staples now?
Staples has many Staples locations has TSA pre-check in the back of the store. It's where I got mine. Was in the
Oh,
back of the
great.
Staples pre thingy. Staples.
Yeah, good to know because when I first got it, I mean, I live in Connecticut and I had to go down to White Plains, New York
Eee.
to do
That's
it because that was the actual. It was closer than Bradley Airport. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. But now you don't even have to deal with the airport at all. You just roll up to your local Staples. I went and it was easy peasy. Quite lovely.
Okay.
Highly recommend. 10 out of 10.
Now that we're clear on that, okay.
Okay.
So the
Yes.
show itself, and I do want to say, I like small shows, and the reason I like small shows is because there's not it's because there's not 500 vendors there, okay. The vendors did sell out at the show, so that was really nice because there was a couple of years where it was a little iffy on whether or not Barkley was going to continue doing that show, but the vendors, I mean, it was full, but like I said, there's not 500 of them. You have an opportunity to talk to the vendors, all right? Not 40 people deep trying to talk to the vendors.
Yeah.
How many total vendors were there? Do you know?
Nah, not off the top of my head.
30-ish?
Could be, but the
Under
booth,
40.
I think under 40, but I'm not. You know what? I could probably go to the website and count all the
Yeah.
little boxes, but I'm actually not going to do that, and we'll just
Fair.
All right. Hey, Kayla. So we're going. Like I said, it was nice. Okay. The education was phenomenal. Okay. There were some classes I'm really very upset I could not take because either I was teaching or I was stuck at the booth. That's the only downside of having a booth, is I really can't take any of the classes. But anyway, 6 classes as usual. The cat classes were, there were people there. There was not a lot of people, but there were people. The business classes were packed. Oh, that's right, Chris. You know what I got right here?
So we went glass blowing before, and I have museum wax. I'm going to try to get it to stand up on my mantelpiece.
I'll
But
put that in my greenhouse.
yeah, you can turn this into a waterer, or just put a little metal stake on a pot and go poof. But the place where we did glass blowing, he had made some mushrooms. He'd made quite a bit of mushrooms that were in the annealer for a show he was doing, and he had a couple extras that he made. And we're like, oh, they're for sale, right? So we got some lovely hand blown. Look at the I don't know if you can really see the glitter, because there's some.
Yeah,
Oh, there we go. And the streaks in that.
I don't know. It's really pretty. But anyway, so
45, by the way,
What was that? 45?
vendors.
Okay.
okay. Good. So Angie Canada. Thank you. All right. So this is
I
what
had
happened.
to know.
In one of my business classes, somebody had asked me a question about building out a salon. Could not answer the question, but I'm like, Michelle, let me take you up to Melissa Jepson. She can answer that question for you. So I walk him up, and I'm introducing him to Melissa, and Melissa goes to me, "Hey, did you get your bowl of mushrooms?" Yeah.
We know what that sounds like.
And I'm going, thank you so much, Melissa,
For phrasing it that way.
for phrasing it precisely that way. And I'm like, we went glass blowing. Okay. It
Let
is
me explain.
a glass mushroom and a bowl. And Melissa's in the background going, yes.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And I'm like, yeah, this is Washington, but I don't actually believe in Washington that mushrooms are legal. I think that's Oregon only.
Really? By the way, on a complete tangent, having just come back from the Seattle area and looking up things to do was that huge Ferris wheel on the beach. Hubby and I started watching Loudermilk the other day, and it's a show on Netflix or Hulu or something. It's a show, and I went, I bet that's set in Seattle. And he was like, I was just going to ask where you thought it was set in. I don't think it's Seattle. What do you mean? What? I'm like, nope. Google it. I am positive that is set in Seattle. And right after, like, we Googled it to confirm I was right, they showed the Space Needle. And he's like, damn, how did you do that? I'm like, it's just there. It's a vibe.
Yeah, so the show I thought went really well. There was a lot of first time attendees who seemed very, very excited by the amount of education there.
Classes. Yes.
And I want to do a quick shout out to Amanda McGrath because she had the one class I wanted to take.
What
Using
class was that?
using events to promote your business.
Ooh.
Yeah, when I saw she was teaching that, I got very giggly, Chris. I got giggly. I'm like, I love events. Pre-COVID, oh my God, I love events. And I know events have been a little slow coming back, but they're back. And you know how awesome it is to be the only pet business at a craft fair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so Chris, what was some of the highlights for you of the Tacoma show?
Wow. Show related highlights or non-show related highlights?
I'd do one of each.
Okay, non-show related highlights, as usual, Pike's Place and glass blowing,
Okay.
because Pike's Place is it's lovely and fantastic. It's fun if you're in the area because it's not just shopping and food, it's actual local craftspeople and locally made stuff. And they have a rule about no chain stores. Like, legit, the only chain store that is allowed in that entire area is Starbucks. And that's only because they were grandfathered in, because that was the first Starbucks ever.
Okay.
So, no, I have not gotten coffee from there. I've always gone, oh, there it is. Oh, that's a line. Yeah, I'm all right. 1 year I'll get Starbucks from it and get like a souvenir, but highlight of the actual show is the attendees and Bubbles. And if you don't know who Bubbles is, she will be making her way into my burnout class, and she was my demo dog. And she's a Shih Tzu Cocker mix. And she looks like nothing else than a Shih Tzu Cocker mix. She's like a really overgrown Shih Tzu. But last year, she was used as the bad dog for the demos because she's got magnets in her butt. And she just wants to sit down and turn and look at you and put her head on your chest and stare at you with these big brown eyes.
Part Cav.
I don't know. It could, you know what? She acts like Cav. That's definite Cav behavior. And I was talking with one of the attendees afterwards who had seen Bubbles in more than one demo class because Jay and Sue worked on her face. And I had problems because like I couldn't make eye contact with her because she was like hypnotoad, but loving. Like if I made eye contact, it was all over. It was like, I just have to love you now and stop what we're doing. But uh so I was talking with one of the attendees later, and she's like, that's why I went into dog grooming, because I do love to cuddle dogs. And it's not that she's a bad dog. You just know, oh, Bubbles is on the schedule. I need to build 15 minutes of cuddle time into my schedule, because if I can't, then what's the purpose of being a dog groomer? And that's what helps you not burn out. And I'm like, you know what? That fits in exactly with how I'm redoing my burnout class. Bubbles is now getting a picture in that, because it's how we look at it. It's rephrasing and reframing how we look at things, whether it is this dog won't stand up because all she wants to do is love on us, or we at 40 now have the opportunity to do something else because we're not pigeonholed into something, and we can change our career trajectory. Yeah, that word, trajectory. Over 30, over 40 and above, we can do that. We don't have to do that. We can do that. See how I bring it? It's all right back to topic.
Well, I'm now 53 and very excited to be 53 because I made it this far. And some people go, wow, you're old. And I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
I am. And you know what? I earned every day of it.
Yeah.
I made it this far. So I am very proud of my age. And I am moving to Florida. I'm going rabbit exclusive. And I actually have a shirt. Oh, let's go this way.
Kick-ass muzzle plucker.
So
love it. Love it.
It was actually said by Lauren Mosquito during her live. And I was like, because with bunnies, you don't trim in the maxillary area. So you have to pluck out the muzzle. So, yeah. So I made a couple of these shirts for, made one for Lauren because she thought of it. And made one for my friend Amy because she's hand strips. So there's different aspects of it. But yeah. So I'm completely transitioning into just bunnies and something else that hasn't quite been announced yet.
But it will.
But it
Unless
will.
you want to do it now? No. Okay.
I know that's up to Angie.
Honorable mention highlight, now that you mentioned Lauren's name, was her daring to bid against me in the Washington State silent auction.
Oh. Do I hear a rivalry? Spill the tea. What happened?
Oh, no, I won because I cheated. And if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Okay.
Says Tom Brady anyway, the douche. But no, it was not. It was all in fun. It was all in fun. And
So what did you win?
oh, it was it's in my bedroom. It was a poodle figurine in a retro trim. And it was a black poodle statue in a retro trim. Alaric, come here. I don't know why I would want that. I don't know why
The
I would
dirt.
want something like that.
Yeah, stubbornness. Mindy says stubbornness won. Yes, stubbornness won.
Yeah,
Stubbornness one.
she also had somebody right by the paper.
Yes, yes. I had several people. I had actually several. I had
Circling.
contingency plans, and then I went and stood there like 2 minutes before. I was literally poor. Wow.
Heather?
No. She's supposed to be here. I swear to God, I know her name. Denise. Poor Denise. I was mid-conversation with her about something, And I'm like, oh, 328 auction, bye, and be back. And like, she's like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. And I'm like, phew! Like,
That's fair.
yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. I had secret agents involved. Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah.
So this is actually a busy week because not only was there a show in Tacoma, there was also a show in St. Louis.
Yes.
And
I want to answer Kim's question. We are actually pretty much on topic tonight, Kim. So we're going back and forth between women over 40 and the Tacoma show. And we're kind of sticking to topic, I think, probably much more so than we normally do.
yeah,
Which is probably why she's asking, because if we're talking, it can't possibly
It
be.
can't possibly be
that can't be the topic. So
like, I'm
what's
talking
actually
about
the
the show.
topic?
It can't possibly be it.
So there was a show in St. Louis, and from what I understand, that was a very successful show.
Yes.
And shout out to Jamie, who got best first timer at Tacoma.
Oh yes, Jamie, that's right. So she's on here. She won with her poodle and she got best first timer. So congratulations. That's not easy because even though it's a small show, those competitions are full.
Yeah, like way full. So well done. And PCA was this past week too. So it was, and Kayla was there with her crew. She basically just brought a broom and swept up a whole pile of ribbons. It's like, gee, Kayla, is there a color you didn't bring home? Because I think you hit them all. So yeah, so that was cool. So some really amazing. I was watching the creative for St. Louis, and I had seen the one in Tacoma. I just like watching. Creative was never like something that I really got into, or just airbrushing, but not, but some of the designs are getting so complicated now. They're like crazy.
Impressive.
Yeah. It's like, okay, that looks like a person. Holy cow. So yeah, some of them were just really, really cool. And so congratulations to all the winners at Tacoma and at St. Louis and PCA.
And Mindy says she loves judging creative. The thought of having to judge creative, like, it simultaneously looks like fun and would give me an ulcer because everyone is so talented.
Some of the designs were just wow. I mean, it was just the coolest. So yeah, it was just the most amazing thing. And in honor of April and ending and being Pet First Aid Awareness Month, our weird fact for tonight is based on that very thing. So here we go.
We got to do a quick shout out here to Austin. He's starting up a mobile, so congratulations on that.
Nice. That's fantastic.
So are we up for the weird animal fact?
Yes.
Angie's Weekly Weird Fact.
Okay, so sometimes pets eat things that they shouldn't. And when this occurs, it occurs much more commonly in dogs than cats because cats are picky. But almost everyone knows about hydrogen peroxide to make a dog vomit. But did you know it's toxic to cats? Vets will commonly use apomorphine in dogs and xylazine for cats. No hydrogen peroxide for cats at any time.
Angie's Weekly Weird Fact.
I also want to piggyback on that little fact. Hydrogen peroxide turns into water in a fairly short period of time. So if you have an open bottle of hydrogen peroxide sitting in your bathroom cabinet, I can pretty much guarantee what it actually is at this point is a bottle of water.
Yeah. Yeah. It loses efficacy after about 6 months.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
So
as soon as it's opened, then you have a 6 month date on it, and it will still remove blood from clothing. So if you cut yourself randomly every time you get your scissors sharpened, as some people do, I've heard. I mean, not that it happens to me every time or anything. Every time. It will get the blood out of your clothing and off of your t-shirt quite effectively, even though it's over 6 months old. But you should have one, and they're cheap. You can get them at the dollar store. So just every 6 months. So what I do is I pick one up around Christmas and after the first day of summer. So that way I know that it's still good. But don't use hydrogen peroxide on yourself if you're grooming cats, because you don't want any transfer, and they are self groomers, and that's it's toxic. So when they make a dog vomit, they will commonly use what's called apomorphine, and they just put it like in the eyelid. And I can't confirm this, but I believe apomorphine actually means going to vomit in about a tenth of a second, from what I have seen.
Okay.
Because every time when I was working as a vet tech, every time Doc did it, he would just stand to the side and the dog would throw up like almost immediately. And it was pretty impressive. But you can't use hydrogen peroxide on a cat. And apomorphine, they rarely use it in cats because of it makes them it makes their heart race, and it makes them, you know, there's a word.
crazy.
Yeah, it essentially makes them crazy. So they don't use that as often, or they don't use it if it can be at all avoided, I should
Okay.
say. However, apomorphine is not available to the general public. So if your cat does need to vomit, you're going to need to go to the vet.
Okay, Austin, to answer your question, we could put you in touch with business coaches depending on what it is you need coaching in. So if you want to drop me a message on what exactly it is you need, I could probably put you in contact with the correct person.
Very cool.
Tachycardia. Okay, thanks, Jess.
Yeah, tachycardic is definitely like one of the aspects of what it does to the cat. It makes their heart race, and it makes them like almost like a manic state, where they're just like ding 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 ding, bouncing kitty, and it gets scary because they're vomiting and jumping about and zipping around the room and trying to get away from you if you're holding them, and then they're vomiting all over you, and it's just not a good scene. So yeah, so there's that. So also, if you do not already have a first aid kit in your salon and in your home, highly recommend you get one. um, and remember, when it comes to digital thermometers for your pets, once a rectal thermometer,
Always
a
a
rectal.
rectal thermometer.
So just take a Sharpie, right on there, pets, because
Okay.
not a mistake you want to make.
Okay, and usually not a mistake you make twice.
Yeah, yeah, you do. Just avoid it altogether. Just Sharpie.
Yeah, so back before the little guns, the little thermometer guns came out, I'd have all these thermometers in the drawer, right? And they're not labeled. So they're all dog thermometers. now because I don't know which one is which.
Yeah, the
Do you
new
know-
one in the box that's unopened, that's the human one.
Yeah.
All the rest of them are
By
dog
the
thermometers
way,
now.
Okay, so Austin,
Since-
yes, a first aid kit for both people and
yes,
pets.
separate.
Most first aid kits are going to be people and dogs safe. The only thing that's going to be different if it is cats. All right. So you just got to be a little bit more cautious about what you're putting into a kit if it includes cats.
If you're looking for a pre-made one,
Kate,
yeah,
Yeah.
she,
I blanked on the website. Help LLP, as in people. So it's helplifelinepreparedness.com. So it's helpllp.com.
right. So you can get it directly from her. You could also, she also sells them to Pet Edge, and you can buy them from Pet Edge as well. Those are the only two places I know that sell her first aid kit.
So that's helpllp.com.
By the way, since we are talking about career changes over 40, how many of us in this chat
And I
remember
spelled it
when
wrong.
oh how many of us remember when you didn't have to label them because rectal thermometers and oral thermometers looked completely different?
Yeah. We're old, Chris.
I don't know about you. I'm turning 50 years young the weekend I get back from Salt Lake City. So I am a fantastic survivor. And one of my clients who's now passed on, I had the conversation with her when I turned 40. And I was like, eh. And she went, life didn't start for me until after 50. Because she had gotten out of a bad divorce and she had given so much. And especially as women, if we have families, either children or we're taking care of older family members, it's sometimes well into our 40s before we really figure out who we are as people and have the ability to be ourselves. And she's like, I found myself in my 50 to 60 was the best.
Yeah, my gram is 106 years young, and she's one of the busiest people I know. She's amazing. And
You know, someone gave me an opportunity to go back to my 20s and 30s. After I finished laughing, I would turn them down. You know,
yeah,
I
no,
appreciate the offer, but you know, no, thank you.
no.
Only if I could keep everything I knew now.
Oh, yeah.
If
But
I could keep everything I knew
No, I
now,
would have to go back further.
I'd have.
Bring
Oh,
me back to my
yeah.
teenage years with what I know now. It's going to be a totally different trajectory.
yeah,
If I went back to my teenage years with what I knew now, there's a shot I'd land in jail. So I think I'll just stick where I am. Because I'd be like, you, I know about you. Come here. Yeah.
All right. So Austin's grandmother is 99, Angie.
okay. She walks 2 miles a day. Yeah, my gram still every day, 5 miles a day.
You work out your elbows?
And you know, she teaches classes, and she's my life goal is to at least be half as cool as my gram. And she's amazing. She's the coolest.
Okay. So on this note, we will be back. Well, hold on a second. Will I be back next week? Yes, I should.
We'll figure it out.
So we'll be back next week. If anybody has topics that they would like to discuss, please let us know. And we'll see if we can discuss them.
Awesome sauce. Safe travels, guys.
Safe travels.